Be respectful. Treat people when you pull them over or you encounter them exactly how you would want an officer to treat your mother, your father, your brother, your sister.
Right.
We have that mentality here. Just be respectful.
Yeah,
act respectfully.
Don't be an asshole. Today's podcast, we have Jeffrey Devlin, Chief of Police in Hollywood, Florida.
Hollywood is a very unique city, and we have a very unique police department.
I know you guys are doing a lot of cool things with technology. Let's talk about the Grappler.
We get behind a vehicle that typically we know is going to flee from us. Engage the Grappler, shoots a big kind of net underneath the rear axles, wraps the car up, lets it go out a little bit, tethers it. Police officer stops his car, and the bad guy stops his car. So
nice. The VR headsets, let's talk about that.
It's a headset, a backpack you put on, and you are immersed in this virtual reality world. It is super realistic, and we can run through a multitude of scenarios with the officers.
So can you share how the Hollywood Police Department leverages marketing and communication strategies to enhance trust and engagement with the community?
No, that's a great question. You have to leverage that. You have to be able to, like in business, listen to what's going on. What are the new trends? How come my customers are going to that guy and not me?
Not me.
Hiring and retention.
Yeah.
And you look at some of these agencies across the country are telling you, hey, we're 20, 30, 40% down. Right now, we're budgeted for 342 officers.
Yeah.
I have 340. Oh yeah, there's my baseball wall up there. There's me and Jeter. Probably one of the best days of my career. I got to meet him.
Yeah?
He was at the Diplomat.
That's where I met you. Because when I was going to approach you, I'm like, I don't know if this guy's going to tell me to screw off. And you were so nice. I'm like, oh, wow. How do you want to be remembered?
You know, that guy treated me fairly.
Yeah.
Treated me with respect. And he was a friend. Hi, my name is Chief Jeff Devlin, and I'm happy to be on the podcast Hustle Inspires Hustle.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Alex Quin, and on today's podcast, we have Jeffrey Devlin, Chief of Police in Hollywood, Florida. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You guys have some amazing things going on. First and foremost, I'm really grateful. You probably have a super busy day. You're having us here in your office. Yeah. I've been in Hollywood basically almost my whole life, so it's pretty cool to be able to speak to community leaders, see what's going on in the city, and see how it's developing.
Yeah, no problem at all. Love to have you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so how long have you been in the position?
So as a police chief, I've been about 6 months.
Okay. Cool.
I've been with the city for 26 years.
Wow.
Yep. I've started out as a patrol officer, worked my way up through the ranks, and found myself sitting here about 6 months ago. So yeah.
So you always knew you wanted to be a police officer?
Always is a broad term.
Okay.
I think something, innate in you was always like you want to serve, right? You want to serve the community, you want to serve people, you want to help out the best way you can. As far as that manifesting into a police officer, that was probably after college when I really narrowed that down. I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to be a cop. So to tell you that my whole life I wanted to be a police officer, probably not true, but it was just more just wanting to help people. I knew I had that in me. My mother was a nurse growing up, so always had that, watched her look after people night and day. Nurses are the best, by the way. They are unbelievable profession, unbelievable people, what they do. So watching her my whole life probably had that instilled in me at a young age.
Looking out for
people.
Was there like a catalyst in college or something that like sparked that you could recall?
Well, yeah, quite honestly, when I found out I wasn't going to be a professional baseball player, I said, well, I got to do something now. So that was it. I just started dropping my applications to be a police officer, and I was, by the grace of God, got picked up by Hollywood, and here I am.
So baseball was the thing, huh?
Well, I tried.
You tried? Were you any good? Or you any good?
Depends who you ask. But I will tell you this. It did. I grew up in New Jersey. I grew up in Toms River, New Jersey.
Okay.
That's exit 86 from all my Northeast people up there that understand New Jersey. Spent my summers on the Jersey Shore. It was well before the show, the Jersey Shore, way before the situation even thought about being the situation. We were running the shore down there. But no, we had a good time growing up on the shore, playing baseball. And I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to Lynn University in Boca Raton.
Wow.
So it brought me down to Florida. I remember going back on a first winter break and kind of sitting around at the dinner table. I said to my parents, did anybody ever tell us about Florida? And like, it's nice weather down there all year round. And
like, why is nobody talking about
Why has nobody ever said Florida before? And you know, growing up in the Northeast, a lot of friends and family and people up there, they just get rooted in there, and then that's it. That's where they're expected to stay, and that's where they stay. And I'm glad we made the move. So the family followed me down, and here I am. So in college, had a great career, great college, a lot of fun. But I realized pretty soon, quickly, that I wasn't going to be pro material. So I found something I need to do something. So
was the scholarship sports related?
Baseball. It's for baseball.
It was sports.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Great experience.
I mean, college is so important because you discover so many parts about yourself during college. For example, during college, I wanted to be a surgeon.
Yeah.
And I very much like the profession. You're talking about looking out for people, taking care of people. It's always kind of like been my thing.
Right.
And once I started going down the science route, oh man, it was so difficult. I was almost crying in chemistry class. It was so frustrating. So I couldn't understand it. And then I got into communications and it felt so natural.
That's awesome.
And I said, you know what, let me go down that route. And thank God it worked really well for me and I was able to, to do what I did.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You're right. Like, so when I went to college, I honestly had no ambition of being anything but a ball player. Like, that's what I wanted to go down there. So
Yeah.
I was completely open-minded to everything. And Lynn University is they're known for their hospitality majors.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, funeral directors in bombings.
Okay.
It was a wide range of stuff going on there. But I learned a lot of stuff, met a lot of cool people. Being so far away from home at a young age, to me, first time away was an experience, a learning experience. Thank God for my mother. I remember calling her probably October-ish, the first year I was down, and saying, I want to come home. This is it. This isn't for me. And she literally hung the phone up on me.
No?
Just stick it out, hung the phone up on me. So
Wow.
unbelievably inspirational and well wise beyond her.
Well, I'm glad she hung up on you. We probably wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Probably not. Probably be talking to some guy in New Jersey probably about it.
So you became an officer. Did you ever think that you would end up in the position you're at right now? Did you say, okay, I want to work towards that? Was it part of the plan?
No, never. And speaking with chiefs across the county, across the state, across the country, really, some of them that you talk to said, yeah, as soon as I came in to be a cop, I knew I wanted to be chief, and I worked my way up to that position. No, not me. No, I was a police officer. I was on the midnight shifts. I was having ball. It was a great time. I thought, this is the best job of my life ever. Moved over to our street crimes unit, worked undercover for a while, had a great time in street crimes. Like, wow, this is it. This is the best position ever.
Wow, yeah.
And I was fortunate enough, I got selected to be on our SWAT team. So I was on our SWAT team,
saw that,
street
yeah.
crimes unit. And again, I was like, this is the best. And then I got chosen to go to K-9. And I worked K-9 for 9.5, almost 10 years.
Wow.
There's my partner there. That's Vito there.
Oh, big
So
boy.
that part of my career, I literally said, this is it. Like, this is the best. So
Yeah.
we had a really good supervisor in that unit. Jimmy Barnick was a great sergeant. He got transferred out, and I said, you know what? All right, let me take the test. Let me start studying and take the test to be sergeant. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll be able to come back to K-9. Timing's everything. The way it worked out, where I placed on the test, not number one, not last, kind of somewhere in the middle there. Got promoted. Opening was in K-9, so the chief at the time decided to leave me in K-9, so I was actually the sergeant in the K-9 unit. And at that point, I said, all right, this is it. This is all I want to do. It's the best part ever. Left K-9 when Vito retired. I retired out of K-9. Some guy staying there to work other dogs. I just didn't have it in me to work another dog, so I left.
Right.
I left with him. Got to do some other things in the department. Got to go to some other areas.
Mm-hmm.
It was coming up on 2010, 2011. We were the city, like every other business out there, was feeling the effects of 08.
Right.
And the city found itself in some financial trouble in 2011 and actually had to declare what was called a financial urgency, which is very similar, almost a bankrupt, like a business saying we're bankrupt. So at that point, I was married, was getting ready to have a family. You had your financial kind of end goals in place, what you want, where you want it to be, how to take care of my family in retirement, where I needed to be set up. And I realized then that the only way to really start making some more money is to promote now. So let me take another test. And that's how I decided to study for the lieutenant's test. Became a lieutenant. And then in our agency, after lieutenant, that's the last civil service test position that you test for. Everyone else is selected. So after that, quite honestly, it just started becoming timing in the way pieces were falling into place. The former chief, Chris O'Brien, who's now our director of public safety over at City Hall, promoted me to major. I had a great time being a major. Got to supervise different parts of the agency. And I'll tell you, probably it was at that point when I was a major that I said, and not even here, I said, maybe chief of police would be something that I aspire for.
Yeah, now it's like something that you're...
See, it's in the sights, right? But not. And the way timing was worked out, me and Chief O'Brien, we came up together, so we had the same amount of years left together. So I said, okay, maybe it's not going to be in Hollywood, but let me start looking other places. Maybe if something opens up, we'll see. But I didn't want to uproot the family, so a lot of things were going on in my head. But it was around that time where I said, this could be a reality. It's something I want to do.
You've seen a beautiful development of Hollywood during these last 20-something years.
It's been unbelievable, to be honest with you. These past 26 years, from when I started riding around the streets at midnight to where it is now,
Yeah.
and especially over the last few years with the leadership we have in place over at City Hall now, you just drive downtown and around the area and you see all these cranes and these new buildings popping up and the work that goes on behind the scenes to get that stuff done.
Every time I drive by.
And me too. Makes me smile. I mean, that's our future, right? That's the future of Hollywood. That's the future, our youth, our officers here. So that's everything. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for sharing your story. Now that we dove in a little bit about you and how you got to where you are, let's talk a little bit about the department. Deanna was kind enough to help us with some of these notes. So appreciate her for making this happen too. Thank you, Deanna.
I'd like to say that too. Without Deanna, I would be completely lost in a lot of situations. So hats off to Deanna.
No, and thank you for being receptive when I approached you that day. It was super important for me, and I've never had somebody from the department, and I thought it was super cool because I saw the dynamic you guys had all on stage and how everything was coming together during the chamber, and I'm like, something cool is going on here in Hollywood. I want to be part of whatever is going on.
I appreciate
so really, really cool stuff that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Let's talk about youth programs. We have a police athletic league that has been a huge part of our community for decades and still has a large impact on the kids of Hollywood. Hundreds of kids are part of that program. Let's dive into that a little bit.
So the PAL program is unbelievable. It's like our little piece of gold here in Hollywood. So it was formed a while ago, and the exact date is up in the air. That's why I don't want to really give you the exact date. But from my recent history, there was an officer named Jerry Christensen who's recently retired, but literally had in the trunk of his car a glove and a bat. Recognized that these bunch of youth were in this neighborhood and had nothing to do and were going to get themselves into trouble without an outlet. So he started what I'll call the modern day PAL, which is over there off Sheridan Street and 22nd and 23rd Avenue over there. He literally started that program. The growth that we've seen in that program, the success stories that we've seen out of there are inspiring, unbelievable, and we make that our top priority to keep that program going no matter what we do. At the start of every budget year, at the start of every really in-depth conversation we're having business-wise, if we have to say, hey, we're going to have to make some cuts or if there's some adjustments here, PAL is always set aside like you're not touching PAL, you're not touching our PAL. That's very near and dear to our heart.
Yeah.
The youth are very near and dear to our heart.
Yeah.
It's our future. And, what we say around here all the time is as many interactions as we can have with our youth in a good setting while they're young, interacting with a police officer, on a ball field, playing pool, playing an arcade game, or just hanging out with them, every one of those interactives just builds and builds and builds. So by the time they become into that middle school, high school age where preteens, other things that they're approached by, or they're tempted by, hopefully something that was said in one of those meetings or stuck with them, or they have somebody that they can go back and talk to, a police officer.
Yeah.
They're not automatically dissuaded by a police officer. They're not automatically see an officer. They have negative thoughts. We want positive thoughts. So he could say or she could say, "Oh yeah, no, the cops are cool. We were hanging. They care. We were hanging out with them since I was a kid. I can go talk to that cop, and it's good." So we want to remove that stigma of being friendly with police, and we want to have these good interactions with the kids. And the officer who is running our PAL program now, Officer Patrick Aganor, came up through the PAL program. He was a kid.
He was part of it.
He was part of the PAL program. He came up through the PAL program. So now he's running it. And the heights that he's taken this program to are unreal. We have professional athletes in and out of there all day long.
Really?
Goes out and gets sponsorships, grants, equipment, sporting equipment, computers, tutoring. I mean, it's just off the chain what he's doing out there. It's really good stuff. And maybe that'd be a cool spot for you guys to stop by and take a tour of that place because, like I said, on any given day, you'll run into a Dolphin player, a Heat player, any NFL player. We have some NFL guys that have come through there that are out there playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
Have come through our program. So it's really cool.
It's really cool that you care about that and you make that one of your priorities. Before we started recording, I told you I'm very active in Miami. We go to the neighborhoods during back to school, during November, December, the holidays. We do backpack drives, we do different stuff. Specifically, we like to get footballs, soccer balls, backpacks full of utensils, because a lot of the times it's not a lack of wanting to do things, but if you don't have what you need, how are you supposed to supposed to go out there and play with that ball, right? And a lot of these kids on the street, like you said, if they might get themselves into trouble, because maybe they don't really have a role model. Maybe they're growing up with a single mom and she's busy working all day, and maybe dad's not around, or vice versa.
That's right.
And then, they're hearing all these things about the police because, well, the kid's getting in trouble or getting in trouble with the police, but that doesn't make the police bad.
That's right.
Right? So the fact that they're seeing a role model like that they're seeing athletes coming in and out, it just goes to show that there is a way out of a bad situation. Last year, I released a documentary on Amazon Prime Video called Take a Ride Miami. And it talks about this specific thing we're talking about right here, about the community caring about the youth, providing programs, providing solutions to keep kids out of trouble in order for them to be able to change their life. Because maybe there's many people listening to this right now and saying, oh, well, it's easy for them to say. They're not here or they're not there. Yeah, true. But there's outlets, there's ways to disconnect, there's ways to see different stuff that could completely change your life. And this officer that you're speaking of that was part of the program and is now leading it is the perfect example of something like that.
Yeah, no, those are great points you make. And though a lot of those programs that you mentioned, we also take part in as well. From turkey giveaways and Thanksgiving, backpacks in the beginning of school year, little stuff all throughout the year. But listen, the statistics are out there, right? So single parent homes, the kids are already at a disadvantage, right? So we want to try to fill that gap as best we can with a role model, maybe the disciplinarian, in a different kind of way, but that figure in their life that they might be missing, that they know, man, if I mess up, like, if you come from a stable home and you mess up, you're going to get in trouble from mom or dad, right? Single parent home, you get in trouble, maybe you're not that afraid, or mom's always working or dad's off working. So, but the PAL program, if you mess up in school, or if you're, we'll suspend you at first, and you'll go through the process, and you won't be allowed in. And believe it or not, we've talked to a lot of kids who have said, I don't want to mess up because I don't want to get thrown out of PAL. Yeah. That's where they go after school. They stay there until mom or dad gets home. If they don't have a dinner that night, we'll get them some food. We'll get some, it's their second home. It's where they have that sense of belonging, and they don't want to get thrown out of there. So that's another incentive for them to stay on the right path.
I'm so glad that you're sharing this with me, because I had no idea, and I'm glad that we have an outlet to be able to share some of the cool programs you guys have going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have some of the officers volunteering with the Boys and Girls Club, YMCA. How's that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So the Boys and Girls Club is another one of those programs that obviously near and dear to our heart, right next to the PAL program. It's on the other side of the city, so it kind of offers the kids that live out west. PAL is out east.
East of 95, yeah.
East of 95, so, and the Boys and Girls Club is out west. Now, they're both open to everybody in Hollywood, but transportation is an issue, right? If you only can ride your bike or walk, so it makes it easier. For the west is out, Boys and Girls Club is out west. Same sort of program, right? Same sort of idea behind there. And you're going to think I'm messing with you, but I'm not. We have a female officer out there who runs our boys and girls programs, who came up through the Boys and Girls Club. She was a kid out there living out west. Wow. We came up through the program, and now she is actually a school resource officer. And in the summertime, all her time out there at the Boys and Girls Club, all the extra duty, off time she spends out there putting programs together, mentorship programs we have where we take officers volunteering to go be a mentor. And that can mean anything from going over there and playing one-on-one basketball, tutoring, doing some homework, hanging out, playing video games, talking, whatever it is. They're a mentorship program. So they go out there and they're mentors. And these officers are doing that on their own time. Yeah. So they'll work their shift and go out there and be mentors, or their day off, and they'll go out there and be mentors. So
I'm glad you're bringing up the subject of mentorship, because I preach that on the podcast, because there's going to be different mentors in your life, whether it's a health mentor, spiritual mentor, eating advice, a father figure. It's great to have that in your life, and it's great to be open to it. You always obviously want to filter out who you're receiving advice from, if you would switch places with them or not. That's right. But the fact that's available and that you guys make a thing about that, it's important. And then, like I said, look, you mentioned that first officer, now the second female officer who became part of the program, and it just shows that it works. Yeah. So we put our money where our mouth is, right? We live it. We're out there doing it every day. We have the proof that it works. We have 2 of our officers that have come through our programs and that are now running them, but. And it's important that that you mentioned that before. It's easy for somebody to say, oh, that's easy to say from up here and say, hey, that's going to work. But we're out there with them. We go out there. I myself will go out there. I'll throw on some shorts and a T-shirt, and I'll be playing basketball or dodgeball. But every one of our officers, it's not like oh my God, you see Jeff out there. It's just that's part of it. That's what we do. Yeah, it's a community thing. It's part of our culture. It's expected. That's what we do out there. So cool thing about it too is that you've been here for so long. This is your home, so it's like it's part of your.
That's right.
Taking care of your peoples.
Hollywood is a very unique city. and we have a very unique police department. I've been fortunate enough in my career path and going up to gone to a lot of different schools and leadership programs across the country. I got to spend 10 weeks in the FBI National Academy with people from all over the world, police leaders from all over the world.
Wow.
And when I tell stories about Hollywood and kind of how we do things and how we operate and how we take care of this or how we handle that, people's jaws kind of hit the floor a lot of the times. I mean, it is a very unique place. This department is so family oriented, and we look out for not only every officer here, but their families and beyond that. So if an officer is in need for whatever it is, we, at the drop of a hat, will do whatever we need to do. And not just the current officers, but the retirees. So that's been a culture that's been built here since, the department since 1920s, but I mean, built upon since then. I can go to a guy that's retired 20 years and say, hey, we have an officer on that's 2 years. He needs help. His family is fill in the blank, whatever. And how much you need, Jeff? What can I do? Where do I sign up? And that's the culture, and that's just one small part of it, but a big part of it, right? But that's just one part of the layers here. So
another part too that I've witnessed myself growing up is I can't say I remember a time where I've seen any officer in the city being talking down on people or being disrespectful, especially encounters I've had, getting pulled over, seeing things go down. It's even when you come here to the station,
well, that's good to hear. Obviously, it's good to hear. Right? You'll want your people treating people like they're going to treat their own family. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that
it doesn't happen
100%
or whatever.
or it never happens. But it's few and far between. And when it does happen,
everybody has their days.
Everybody's got their days, and we'll handle that accordingly and swiftly. The body-worn cameras that we have now are relatively new here. They're about 2 years old, so. That's another part of the transparency about our community and the police legitimacy and letting people in. Like say, no, this is what happened. This is what we do. Good, bad, or ugly, whatever it is. This is what happened.
Yeah, those things are important not only for the community but for the officers themselves. Because there's always going to be the time where the officer finds themselves in a pickle and it's in a situation they don't really need to be in, and that's just
it helps them out.
Transparency.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. The false allegations or an allegation that somebody thought happened this way but it really didn't, or that officer would before the cameras would be your word versus mine, basically. Now we'll have the cameras, got audio, video, and say this is really what happened. Okay, so
I've been having this this thought pop into my head for months now about this technology. I think would be really cool if somebody invented what you've seen, the drones that are flying around, the little drones that people fly around. It'd be super cool for it to be like at a property or on a police car where you make a stop and these tiny little drones fly out and like triangulate the car, film from everywhere, collect whatever data they need to collect and fall back in. I feel like we're just like 5-10 years away from that type of technology.
I bet you we're not that far from that technology. That's a great thought, though. That's I'm sure somebody's already thinking about that. The the AI stuff that's out there. It's unbelievable. I was fortunate enough a couple months ago to attend a class at Harvard University. And there was the guru on artificial intelligence that Harvard had. So this guy's a pretty smart dude, right? So I'll be honest, what he was saying about AI was pretty scary. It's pretty scary. I mean, how fast it's going and where we're at with it, it's kind of scary. So
I know you guys are doing a lot of cool things with technology. Let's talk about the Grappler, and I know we have some other stuff that you guys have been trying.
The Grappler. So the Grappler is really cool. So the technology aspect. So and this can to the leaders that are out there listening or your CEOs that are out there listening. I think it's important for. It's easy for you to sit up here behind this desk and you think you know what's right for the officers. You think you know what's right for your employees, and this is the best way. But what we did here was pretty immediately open it up to the newer officers, the younger officers that I have out there, and say, listen, you guys go out and find me the technology. You're the ones that are living it. You're the ones that are breathing it. This is your generation. Tell me what's new. Tell me what's going to make your job safer, more efficient, more effective. We open it up like that. We got a lot of ideas. The Grappler was one of them, and I'm going to be honest with you. When the officer came to me with the Grappler, I said, come on, this looks like Spider-Man. It's some kind of joke.
What are you doing?
But, man of my word, I said, okay, we'll give it a shot, and it's taken off. We were the first agency east of the Mississippi. It was really Arizona company. We were the first in the east of the Mississippi to give this a shot, and the phone's ringing off the hook from agencies all up and down the East Coast wanting this piece of equipment. So
how does it work?
So it's a early intervention pursuit, right? So we get behind a vehicle that typically we know is going to flee from us, right? The officer runs a tag and say it's a stolen car or they're wanted for something. We say, okay, this car is probably going to flee from us. So that's an easy one where the guy can get up with this Grappler, girl can get up with the Grappler. And basically what it does is it's attached to the front of the car. it looks like a little forklift that comes down. They get up close to the car. I don't know the exact distance to the car. Engage the grappler, shoots a big kind of net underneath the rear axles, wraps the car up, lets it go out a little bit, tethers it, and police officer stops his car, and the bad guy stops his car. So
nice.
It's rated up to about, 70, 80 miles an hour they can use this thing. And
wow.
we've had a lot of successful deployments that have ended the pursuit very, very quickly, where this pursuit could have gone on and on. And pursuits are very, very dangerous.
Very.
Obviously, in the news, up in Coral Springs, a 6-year-old just died as a result of a bad guy not stopping. So the pursuits are dangerous not only to our officers but to the community. And we
right.
recognize that. We understand that. We are constantly talking to our officers about it, weighing the option. Is it worth this? What am I doing here? And the grappler, hopefully, the more grapplers you get, the more pursuits will end quickly and safely.
Super cool. You had an open mind to that. There was another piece of technology. What were we talking about before?
VR headsets.
The VR headsets. Let's talk about that. Can you hand me my phone? Oh, it's right here. It's right here. Yeah, the VR headsets. That's for training, right?
Yes. So virtual reality. The same thing. We had 2 officers, our training officers, went out to an expo somewhere. They came back and they said, "Hey, we got this piece of training. We think it's going to be really cool. We think it's going to be really good, beneficial for the officers. Okay, let's give it a shot." And same thing. It is just that. It's a headset, a backpack you put on, and you are immersed in this virtual reality world. It is super realistic, and we can run through a multitude of scenarios with the officers. The controller can change the scenarios as you're going through, depending upon your response or your actions. So anywhere from de-escalation to use of force issues. Another cool thing about this piece of technology is it's constantly updating itself. So if we have a real life situation in Hollywood, say, you know what, this could help a lot of agencies. We'll feed that to the company, and they input it into everybody's software. So somebody out in Northern California can say, "Oh yeah, this happened in Hollywood, Florida. Well, let's run through this scenario, see how our guys do." They can go to any geographical area in our city, use their technology and map it out, and put it in their machine. And when I put the headset on, now I'm on Hollywood Beach. And there's the streets on Hollywood Beach. There's the layout. There's everything unique to your city. So, a lot of really cool things.
It's the future.
It was a lot of good things. We just got done. We ran the whole department through it after a lot of testing and training. We just got done through it, and the reviews are off the chart. The guys love it. Saves a lot of time.
Really safe way of learning de-escalation.
A lot. Yeah. I mean, yes. There's so many benefits to it, but the safety, the officer safety, the time, the efficiency I can get somebody trained through a scenario in an hour, which literally would have took a day before. So we can knock out a lot of training and often. So
awesome. Let's talk about hiring. Okay.
Okay.
You guys have traditional career fairs.
Yes.
Okay. How's that?
So the career fairs are great. We'll wherever the obvious career fairs we'll go to, or the colleges will put a career fair, and we have a public affairs unit, a whole personnel unit, in charge of our hiring. So they'll go out there, they'll set up shop, and really just grab everybody they can and recruit as we can. It's a unique industry where we have a lot of people, like you've mentioned earlier, that, hey, I wanted to be a cop my whole life. Or we have some people that are coming out of college like, maybe this is worth a shot. A lot of military coming out of the military, looking for a place to continue to serve.
Right.
We're a paramilitary organization, so that kind of fits in with them. So yeah, that's we do a lot of that.
Social media as well, right? You guys are active on socials for that?
That's Deanna. Deanna's our social media guru. Honestly, before Deanna was hired, we were in the Stone Ages with social media. We really had nothing going. Deanna has brought us out of that. So yeah, we have, let me just get this right. We got Instagram, we have Facebook, X now. So yeah, we did a lot of that. We target, we're always making these really super cool videos. Well, not we, they're always making these super cool hiring videos. We have a really talented officer, Christian Latta, who's great with video editing, with Deanna's brains. They do the videos. We have an officer who actually left us for a while, went out to California to pursue his acting career. Didn't work out for him. He came back, so we are utilizing that talent. And you'll see On Scene with Jerry. On Scene with Sumner, is the last name. So they have that, and they're getting thousands of views and likes on that. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, so that we try to hit hiring, recruitment. It's really cool when I go to these different places out of the state, and somebody will say to me, "Hey, I watch your videos on Instagram or on Facebook." I call Dan right away. I say, "Oh, you're doing something right." So it's working. Yeah, so we're reaching a lot of people that way. We do go to the schools. We have a lot of talking about the mentorship programs or the youth programs. We have a Explorer program where we can have kids 13 to 18-year-olds come in and become part of this Explorer program. We give them a uniform. They're out there doing different things in the community. We'll use them in certain events for traffic control or whatever, so they're part of the agency then, and we bring a lot of them on and hire them. So we're doing a lot of cool stuff with that.
Yeah, I like that you guys are active with that, because you may be doing a lot of this stuff, but unless you show it sometimes, people won't find out that it's happening, and they won't know that you have such a great opportunities on here.
Yeah, so listen, we are doing great. So one of the big topics around the nation with policing is hiring and retention.
Yeah.
And you look at some of these agencies across the country are telling you, hey, we're 20, 30, 40% down. Right now, we're budgeted for 342 officers.
Yeah.
I have 340. So these hiring, the tactics that the team is using, the tactics that the department has embraced are phenomenal. Each officer is an ambassador for this department, right?
Yeah.
So they go out and recruit. They go out, and if they're on a scene or they meet somebody, say, you know what, I think you'd be a good cop. Look at this career,
Wow.
So, and we incentivize that too. We give them, if you recommend someone, they make it through their first year, you get 8 hours off. So that's just one other way we do it too. So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if people want to apply, they would go to www.hollywoodpolice.org.
Exactly right. Yeah, go to www.hollywoodpolice.org. They can come to the police station. They can, like I said, go to that website. They can call somebody. I mean, they can call the police station, 954-967-4636. Stop by, whatever. But yeah, we're always hiring now. That number I gave you, that doesn't mean to people that are listening that we're not hiring. We're going to continue to hire because, through attrition, we're always going to lose people through retirement. So that number's at 2. We're going to continue to try to build off that and continue to hire. The city's growing, as we talked about before, development-wise.
Yeah.
So with that development, with that growth, your police department has to grow too, naturally, right?
Absolutely.
So we're going to continue to hire. We're going to continue to press. So yeah, please call, join the team. There's some great benefits to being a Hollywood police officer right now.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the 22 years pension, continuous service at 75%.
Yeah, that's right. So you can. What that means is, 22 years of continuous service, you can leave after your 22 years and you get your full retirement, or you can enter what we call the DROP program, the Deferred Retirement Option Program, and you can make 75% in that DROP program for up to 8 years, and you can be in that DROP program. So that's a great year. We have 410s. What we do, we have assignment pay. I always said Hollywood is the sweet spot number-wise of an agency. You get to an agency too small, your growth, your opportunities are kind of stifled, right? You can't be a specialized unit. I can't really progress. You go to a big agency, you get lost in the sauce very easily. Hey, where are you? Oh, I've been in midnights in this district for the last 8 years. Oh, yeah, that's right. Let me come in. Our agency is very, I think, very unique in that sense, is where you want to study and you say, hey, I want to be the chief. Well, we set that career path for you. You can start taking your promotional exams after 5 years, and you start on that path. And there's good opportunities. There's always, every 2 years, a slew of promotions. You say, hey, I want to be on the Marine unit. I really like the beach. I want to be in the, okay, put yourself in for the Marine unit. There's turnover there. We'll get you in the Marine unit. I want to be in traffic. I want to be on the beach unit, riding a bike on the beach. I want to be a patrol officer, street crime SWAT. There's a lot of different things where the number is good enough that you're going to get there. You're not going to get lost in the sauce, and there's that opportunity to grow. So,
yeah, there's like a good track for it.
It's a great track for it. It's a perfect size department where you're going to know everybody here. Maybe not intimately everybody, but you're going to know everybody here, and they're going to know you. But it's not going to be like so small and so close that they're going to know everything. You know what I mean? Everything about your business, but so large where you're just a number. So, like I said, I think it's the sweet spot. Yep. It's a perfect amount, and the culture and the traditions here. I can go on and on about those, but the family-oriented style of this place, the way we look after each other, is like no other.
Love it. So we have take-home vehicle. Is that a standard?
It is. I'm not going to say every agency has that, but I would call that an industry standard. It's a great tool for all agencies. So, in the short of it, it's a force multiplier. So we give you a take-home car, and you're on your way home, and you live in Coral Springs, whatever it is, and you're driving through multiple cities. bad guys aren't going to say, wait a minute, I'm a Hollywood, where am I? But they're going to see a police car. And now if I have a BSO deputy who lives in Hollywood, he's driving through Hollywood in his marked unit. So it's a force multiplier. There's police cars. The more police cars you see, the more perception of safety you feel. So that's the big benefit of it. Yeah.
Agreed. On-duty workout time. I like that.
Yeah, we love that. So part of the tradition and culture here, like we're talking about, the family-oriented, but is officer wellness. We're huge on officer wellness.
Right.
And that goes from mental to physical. So on-duty workouts, you get 3 hours a week, or basically an hour and a half. So I tell you, work 4 10s. You get an hour and a half every other day to work out on duty. So you can do that before you, or at the beginning of your shift, the middle of your shift, at the end of your shift, whatever you like to do.
Yeah.
And then it's I call it indoctrinative. At the moment you come out of the academy, actually when you're in the academy, you'll know. They're like, oh, you're going to Hollywood? Yeah. Okay, get ready for some PT. And it's not, we don't do that to weed anybody out or hurt anybody, but we do it to instill that workout, get you in that mindset of, hey, this is the culture here.
Yeah.
Everybody should be in shape. Everybody should look good. Everybody should feel good.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically. So we start that off early. It's mandatory that you have to do that for your first 16 weeks here, and hopefully by then you have that habit of working out. And we give you the dietary classes, the workout classes.
Really?
Yeah. And we get all that, and you know.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and I think it really. It helps a lot. It helps with obviously your physical well-being, right? You look good, you feel good, your mental well-being, and
performance.
Your job performance, and all the way over to HR with insurance claims and health issues. Try to limit those. It's no secret that a police officer's life expectancy is much shorter than the average person's. I think the last article I read, it was close to 60 years old. Is the life expectancy of a police officer. Now that's a lot of it
is due to health
attributes going to that. A lot of stress, right? A lot of the stress-related issues that we deal with on the job, and to deal with that stress, a huge way to deal with that stress is through physical activity. So we really put an emphasis on physical activity. I think right now they're wrapping up one of the fitness challenges that we do, and we you can do it by yourself. You can have a team, and they'll weigh you in the beginning of it, take your body fat, take all your measurements. And I think it's 3 months or so, and then they'll do it again, and the team or person that lost the most gets a couple of days off or day off, whatever it is, and they do all these competitions. Yeah, so the men and women really took to it. They like it. And like I said, it's part of the culture. It's working out as part of the culture around here. And then the new police station, the new police building, we were very involved in that, and big part of that will be our exercise room and our workout area. It's going to be state of the art. It's going to be awesome. It looks
like a spaceship.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
I'm going to put a picture of it up on the screen if we're able to. We have a thing right here.
Yep.
That thing looks crazy, man. That thing looks badass.
So it's very, very futuristic. I don't know if that was something you wanted to talk about or not, but but we were so the unique thing to me about that was from day one when we decided, the city said, okay, we're going to build a new police station. The people they brought on right from day one had us involved. Yeah. Like, okay, what do you guys want? What are you looking for? What do you want to do? And I was like, man, I'm not an architect. I'm not a designer. What am I doing? But man, the way they listened to us and the way they implemented our ideas and the way I know what you're talking about. Let's do this. And just sat down like me and you are now talking and come up with that was super cool. Those people are amazing, the job that they've done with that. We're breaking ground here late summer, early fall this year, and hopefully in 2 years after that we'll be moving into the new police station. So Beautiful. We're super excited. But when you look at it, what we were really trying to get was really the openness, right? We want it to be, okay, it's a police station, but it's welcoming. Mm-hmm. We want the public to come in and feel like, okay, we're part of this community. The police department's part of our community.
You don't want it to be like cold and,
Yeah, I don't want it, this building, I'm sure, was great when it was built, and it served its purpose. But it's tired, right? It's kind of outdated. You don't really get that warm, welcoming feeling when you walk in. That we've said we want a lot of glass, we want a lot of sunlight, we want people to walk in and just feel relaxed. Areas to sit down, come in and not be bothered. I won't say spot, whatever it is, come in and be part of the. We want it to be part of the community as much as we could. And
I love it.
Yeah,
it's so motivating too to work at a super cool spot. Fresh, new.
Yeah, exactly. That
adds a new vibe.
Yep, and that's part of the recruitment as well. When we tell people, hey, we're going to be in a new station, and here it is, and
it's
going to be super.
You're gonna have
cool
a blast
spot.
with that one.
Yeah, super cool stuff.
All right, so I have some some extra questions for you here. They're not there.
All right.
So can you share how the Hollywood Police Department leverages marketing and communication strategies to enhance trust and engagement with the community, maybe outside of some of the stuff that we already discussed?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And that is one of our big things that we really will put an emphasis on, community outreach, right? So we are very, very involved with our community. I mean, I could give you numbers or stats of how many community events that we attend. And I say we, street officers, all the way up to the ranks to myself, after hours, weekends, whenever it is, being involved in the community. Because at the end of the day, we are the community, right? We're next to you every day. We're working for them every day. We're a part of that community. So to be part of that community and to be engaged, to listen, to get the feedback, to try to implement what they're telling us and understand what they're telling us. Because at the end of the day, like I said, we're their police department. Right, I'm not their police department. Right, we're working for them.
I'm
right?
glad you see it that way.
So whatever they're trying to tell me, or whatever they're trying to say, to be successful, you have to leverage that. You have to be able to, like in business, listen to what's going on. What are the new trends? How come my customers are going to that guy and not me?
Not me.
So what do you do to combat that? You listen, you get engaged, and the only way to do that is be part of it, be out there and be present. So we really put an emphasis on that. We go to as many of these community events as we can, and be as present as we can and listening as we can. And some things obviously we can't implement, I can't do. But
I can't do everything.
I can't do everything. But I think it's important to listen, and I think, and I know from experience, when the community, they know that you can't do everything, but if they feel that you're listening, they feel that this person cares about me, my police department cares about me, those relationships are priceless, and they go a long way.
Well, yeah, you just mentioned listening, and it goes back into the technology part, where if you wouldn't have listened and been open-minded to some of these new technologies you guys are using, they probably wouldn't be used in the department right now and wouldn't inspire other departments elsewhere to be able to want to do the same.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's 100% right. And, more from the, the outward facing, but, the leverage the community, because the community, talking about that outreach and how we leverage that, they are such a resource for us. Not only for ideas and ways to better ourselves, but to help combat crime. And when a crime does occur, who's our best eyes and ears? Who's our best witnesses? I can't have 340 cops everywhere in a city. I need to have those relationships and fall back on those relationships and have people comfortable enough to come up to our officers and say, hey, this is what I saw. This is when I saw it.
Yeah.
If you don't have those relationships, people are not going to talk to us, and it's going to make our job near impossible.
And I'm glad you guys are also on X, Twitter, because especially like during 2020 with all the craziness, I would find out a lot about a lot of the local stuff going on X. Like, and at first I thought it wouldn't, like there wasn't going to be enough people on X talking about, no, there is.
Yes.
And also like the ring systems are great stuff because of you see the community, like for example, in this area, the neighbors are very engaged. Which is also really good because that means that you guys are also in the know.
I think, we have a very engaged community, you're right. And we kind of feed off each other in that way, right? So they're engaged, we're engaged, and vice versa. We could just keep going back and forth. But back to the 2020 and the Twitter and the communication, we were fortunate enough to have Deanna then, and to communicate with the public was a challenge. Yeah. Where we had to figure out Zoom, we had to figure out Twitter, we had to figure out Facebook. But I think we came through that on top. We learned a lot of stuff like you're talking about. People do communicate this way now, right? It's not me getting out there and to these community meetings and we're going to reach all these people. Deanna could put out something on Twitter, a message from me or whoever, and hits thousands of people like that. It's unbelievable. So,
Love it. Yeah. All right. So in what ways does the Hollywood Police Department collaborate with local educational institutions to contribute community safety and awareness?
Another great question. Good question. So we have a very in-depth school resource officer. We have officers embedded in our schools. Right now we've actually taken on, found a new niche and retired officers and hire them back on as part-time officers just to go into schools. And where they're in schools, like I said before about our POW program, about the Boys and Girls Club, the more interactions we have with these kids at an early age, the better. So they're embedded immediately into the schools with our youth. Giving them educational classes, teaching about gangs and drugs and all the stuff that you teach a kid, in these schools. And we start right from there, but we have a very robust, in-depth school resource officer program.
Is there anything related to like gun safety training or like anything that teaches the youth at a reasonable age? for safety? Because I know that's a huge part. Sometimes people leave guns laying around. The kids pick them up. They think it's a toy.
Yeah, it's a huge. I'm glad you brought that up. So we are very involved with that education. I think me and Deanna talk probably weekly. Or what are we going to do to reach our kids? So that part of that I mentioned it before. The on scene with Sumner, I think they were calling it. What that is the
officer who came back.
The officer who came back, and what that is a way for us to reach the audience that we're talking about, the thousands of people on Facebook or X in a short amount of time. But what he does is goes on there and it's a 10 to 20 second clip, but it's all right. What do we want to get? So gun safety is always on there. We always have gun safety videos about storing your gun, securing your gun. We give them give the public resources how to get a gun lock, where they can get a safe. Come to the station, we'll give you a gun lock. So anybody that's listening out there for real. Anybody out there is listening needs a gun lock, come to the police station, contact that address, and we'll get you a gun lock. We'll get you resources for the best safes. I hear it all the time. Well, I want to have my gun near me in case somebody breaks in. I want to be able to defend myself. They have biometric safes that are out there that are affordable. We'll point you in the right direction. We're not advocating for any company, but we'll certainly educate on that. So we have at the next commission meeting over here at City Hall, we have actually a resolution going in for Gun Safety Week. So we're passing a proclamation for that. Some gun safety advocates will be there. They'll be in the lobby handing out gun locks. So we are always on the gun safety education, not leaving it in your car. And I said, please, anybody that's out there that does own a gun and is listening to me, bring your gun inside with you at night. Do not leave it in your car. I can't tell you how many car breaks and where they find out a gun's been taken and then used in a violent crime. And I think that's every responsible gun owner's
nobody wants that.
Worst nightmare, besides it getting in the wrong hands of a child getting hurt. Now it's in the hands of a criminal, and they're hurting somebody with your gun. So secure your gun, take it out of your car, bring it in your house, use a gun lock, use your safe, keep it out of the reach of children, and educate children. If you have children, you have young people in your life, educate them as soon as they can understand. Take the novelty out of, what is that? Let me try to grab that, take that away from a young age, and just make it safe.
For the regular person who doesn't know a lot of this stuff or doesn't know how to really engage with a police officer, what is the safest, most respectful way to engage with a police officer who has pulled you over, whether you committed an infraction or not?
Great question there. Listen, I am laughing because I'm thinking back to my brother, my stories of my brother. Me and my brother are completely different. I love him. And he loves me, but we're just completely different. So we have these conversations a bit. Not that he gets pulled over a lot, but he may. Listen, I think it's like any interaction. You want to be respected. Act respectful. You want to be treated with dignity. Act with dignity. So if you if you think you have done nothing wrong and you're being pulled over unjustly, unfairly, you still act respectfully. You still roll down the window and talk to somebody like you would engage a conversation. Now you control that situation with the officer, that conversation. You believe it or not, you get out there and you start yelling and screaming and become indignant. Well, that conversation is not going to go very well.
Obviously.
If you have a good respectful attitude and say, officer, I'm sorry. I obviously have done something, or I think what is it? Why am I being stopped? And if you still disagree with him, or her to that point, say. There's ways to correct this, whether it be traffic court or whatever. It doesn't have to keep escalating. I've seen so many situations where somebody is so dead set that they didn't do anything wrong, and they just keep going and going and going, and then they end up talking themselves into a really bad situation that really could have been just a ticket on your way,
something else.
And then let's settle this in court. But listen, you said it before that it's ingrained in our guys and girls out there, and men and women out there that be respectful, treat people. When you pull them over or you encounter them, exactly how you would want an officer to treat your mother, your father, your brother, your sister.
Right.
We have that mentality here. Again, are we batting 1,000? Probably not, but very close to it. And like I said, if that's instilled in a young age, and your senior officers still carry that, instill that, we're on a good pace. But to your question, just be respectful. Act respectfully.
Don't be an asshole.
And chances are that you're going to have a good interaction with our officers.
I always tell people, and I talk to my brother about it. When I get pulled over, I put the car in park. I roll all the windows down, turn the light on, and put my hand on, because you may have not done nothing wrong, but we live in a state where you could carry without a concealed weapons license.
Yep.
The officer doesn't know who you are, what you're up to.
That's right.
So they're also scared too. Just because they're walking up with guns and whatever, it doesn't mean that they can't get hurt or that somebody can't do something to them.
No, you're absolutely right. And the officers are trained to, everybody that they're pulling over, that person could have just robbed a bank. That person could have just committed some crime, but you're pulling them over for a red light violation, but they don't know that. They think they're got.
Yeah.
So officer has that in their mind. So that's good advice for you. Immediately disarm the situation, immediately bring everybody's tensions down a little bit. But
it's not mandatory or anything.
To your point,
I got to do this. But
if you roll your window down that much and you say, I'm not, giving you my license, it's not going to go.
I don't answer questions. One of those. I've seen those YouTube videos.
We have seen them as well, and we do a lot of training on that, believe it or not. So, but you can guess where it's going to go from there. So
Okay. So, how important are partnerships with local businesses to the Hollywood Police Department, and can you give examples of successful collaborations?
Sure. Yeah. So the businesses are just as important as our residents out there. We know that as a police department, we can't be successful if the businesses aren't successful. So if the businesses comes to Hollywood, they open up and they're not successful, they leave, that's not good for anybody, right? That's not good for our community, that's not good for our police department. So we understand that. So how do we make their business successful? Collaboration, communication, make them feel safe, listen to their needs, say whatever issue they're having, I want them to have that feeling where they can call me or can call the police department, hey, this might not be a big deal. Nobody really thinks it's a big deal, but it is a big deal. If it's a big deal to you and your business, let us know. How can we help you? Yeah. So we understand that. So off the top of my head, a success story. You
guys do some stuff in downtown Hollywood. I see a lot of
we
police
do
presence there for the events. And
we do. And I won't name a specific business, but they were having quite an issue with some homeless. And we have a very robust homeless intervention program. We understand we can't arrest our way out of homelessness. We've set up a lot of resources, not just the police department, but the city of Hollywood itself. And we can get into that in a minute. But so we took care of the homeless issue for those people, and it allowed their customers to come in, feel more at ease, feel better about it. And the business is flourishing. We're flourishing. So that's just one example. I mean, there's so many stories like that where the businesses need to feel that they can call us, and we need to feel that we can call them. So, if there's a business out there too that's doing something that's not, say, beneficial or making residents around them happy, I need to be able to go to that business owner and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
I want you to succeed. I want you to be here, but this is still what's going on here. So if we didn't have those relationships, that stuff wouldn't happen. So
it all goes down to communication.
All communication, relationships, establishing, maintaining relationships, that collaborative effort, and just like the residents, if they see, all right, the police department's engaged, they care, they're paying attention, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
It goes a long way.
Kind of like the police cars being out, taking the cars home.
Yeah.
They feel the presence. They see the presence.
They feel the presence. I mean, I think it's where you want to go and be like, man, where are the cops? Nobody's paying attention here. What's going on? Nobody wants that. And stats. We can give you stats all day long about crime, but it's about perception. Do you feel safe? Do you want to open up a business here in Hollywood? Would you feel that you can talk to your police department? Right. Well, I hope. And do you feel you could talk to your police department and they'll help you? And that's our goal too.
I can. I went to a meeting and I talked to you, and you gave me an opportunity. So you just got to ask sometimes.
That's right. That's all. That's it.
As the chief of police, what leadership qualities do you believe are essential for managing a law enforcement agency effectively in today's dynamic environment?
Whew. So it's a lot of layers of that on you.
Yeah.
There. Okay. Well, I think.
You personally, listening already.
So
being a good listener.
Me personally, I think situational leadership is key, especially in our profession, and listening is at the top of that. You need to be not just a listener, but an active listener. You need to be engaged. You need to really understand or try to understand what someone's telling you when they come to you, right? So and when I say that situational leadership, because in our profession, there are times. When maybe not me, but a supervisor on the street or on the road says, "Officer, I need you here now doing this." They have to do it. That's our role. There's other times though when I need to have a conversation with you. All right, what do we need to do to fix this situation? How can we make it better? So each situation is going to call for a different style of leadership. But I think at the end of the day, it's always about listening. and we always fall back onto establishing, maintaining relationships.
Yeah.
I need to have as many relationships, many of those interactions and relationships, I'll call them in the good times, right? When normal times, walking around the agency, being present is a big part of my style. I need to be out there talking to men and women, because when I really need something done or it really needs to happen, I'm not a stranger, right? It's not this person coming down and saying, hey, do this.
Exactly.
We need to have these relationships. We need to establish that. So I think if I had to put a finger on my personal style, would be a servant leadership. I mean, when I'm in this chair, when I found myself in this position, I said to myself, and I continue to say to myself each day, what can I do? What can I do as a chief with now my new resources get and bring to the agency here to make their job safer,
right,
more efficient, more effective? That's where my mindset's at every day. What can I do? I can't be out there anymore arresting bad guys with you, but I can make that safer for you, right? I can go procure more equipment. I can go talk to the businesses for you and make it easier that way. Whatever I can do to make their job safer and easier and more efficient, that's really where I'm at.
Be a people person.
It's got to be a people
person.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. You got to be out there and it's a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So what role does ongoing education and professional development play in your department, especially concerning understanding businesses and their principles?
It's huge. Ongoing education is huge. So they, in our profession.
Yeah, we talked about health, we talked about mental health, all that. So there's more, obviously.
Oh, yeah, in our profession, you go through your 6-month academy and you come out and you go through about 16 weeks of training, and then you're on your own. So really the ongoing education and the way we evolve as a society, laws, policies, philosophies change so rapidly. It is so important for you to stay on top of it and to stay on top of it through continuing education. So we have a bankroll set aside for just training, just officers to go through that continuing education. We want it to be relevant, right? I'm not just going to send you out to wherever you're going, but if you come to your supervisor and say, hey, here's this training. Now we push out a lot of training opportunities for our officers. They also come to us with some training and
like suggestions of things.
Suggestions where they want to go, what they want to do, and I can tell you rarely are they denied or turned down. We put a big emphasis on that, and we back it up by allowing them to go. And when you do go, to kind of expound on that, and for the businesses out there, if you send somebody to that training or you send somebody out to have a special skill set, when they come back, we make them pass that on. So now, okay, you're an expert in this, or you just went to a school in this. Great, we paid for it. We put you up.
Help
now
everybody out.
You're gonna train, and we're gonna put you up and
take one and pass it down.
Take one and pass it down. That's right. So now you're not gonna train. But honestly, to stay current, to stay up to date, you have to be mobile, right? You have to look around that corner, see what's coming next. You always have to be vigilant and keep moving, especially where we're at. And a big part of being able to do that is staying current through training.
Last question, Chief. How do you want to be remembered?
Wow, that's a great question. I talk about this a lot to our new promotees, to people coming up the ranks. At the end of the day, titles don't matter. Whether you're an officer, a sergeant, a detective, a chief, titles at the end of the day don't matter, because honestly, after I leave here, in 6 months, they're not going to remember, the chief. So to me,
time goes
on. So to me, what matters is how you treat people. So I always want to be. If you're going to ask me how I remembered, that guy treated me fairly.
Yeah.
Treated me with respect, and he was a friend.
Yeah. It's funny because when I was going to approach you, I'm like, I don't know if this guy's going to tell me to screw off. And you were so nice. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, that wasn't as bad.
Right.
You never know, man.
No, listen,
So that's how I remember you,
Well, I appreciate that. And, the situational leadership, you can't always be that way.
Yeah.
I get that. And but in my position, I can be that way more times than not. But to be remembered, I think, like I said, treated me fairly, treated me with respect, and was a friend. I think that would make me very happy.
All right, Chief. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. You heard it. This is Alex Quin, Chief Jeffrey Devlin, Hollywood Police Department. Catch you guys on the next episode.